This is the story of Julia Bacola Petta, a woman who, after her death, became known as the Italian Bride. This is a sad, creepy and mysterious story. Keep watching to find out why. I'm Natalie Benns. Let's get into it. Julia Bacola was born in Italy in 1891. Her father George passed away in 1913, and Julia's mother Philomena emigrated to the United States with her daughter Julia, and they settled in the west of Chicago. In June 1920, Julia married Matthew Petta, and not long after the wedding, she became pregnant. Sadly, in 1921, aged just 29, Julia died after giving birth to her stillborn son. Julia was buried in her wedding dress at Mount Carmel Cemetery with her stillborn son tucked into her arms. Julia's mother Philomena really struggled with losing her daughter, as I'm sure any mother would struggle with the death of a child. She started experiencing really terrifying dreams, and in this nightmare she would see Julia, and Julia would be telling her in the dream that she was still alive and needed her help. For years and years, Philomena struggled with these dreams. They just didn't seem to stop, so she tried without success to have her daughter's body exhumed. After 6 years of trying, the family was granted permission to have Julia's body dug up or exhumed. In 1927, now this was 6 years after Julia had passed away, and of course she'd been buried for 6 years, her body was exhumed. It was dug up. And when they opened the casket, they found Julia's body to be intact. It had not decayed at all in 6 years. It was said that her skin was still as soft as it had been when she was alive. The strange part is that after 6 years of being buried, her stillborn son's body had decayed, but Julia's body hadn't. Julia's mother took a photograph of Julia's body in the coffin, and she had this photograph placed on a new tomb. Julia's mother Philomena set out to raise money for a more elaborate tombstone, and a statue was constructed of Julia on her wedding day. So it was this beautiful statue of Julia in her wedding gown. 2 pictures were placed on this new tombstone. The first one was of Julia on her wedding day. This is the image that the statue was based off of. And below that is the picture that was taken after her body was exhumed, which in the photograph, it simply looks like Julia is sleeping. Below the photograph is this Italian phrase, which roughly translates as taken 6 years after death. So how come after 6 years of being buried, was Julia's body still intact? Why hadn't it decomposed? So many devout Catholics in the area believed that the reason her body had not decomposed was because she was a saint, or she must have been a saint. Skeptics scoffed at this idea and said that the photograph must have been taken before she was originally buried. But that doesn't explain why in her arms there's, I don't even like saying it, the decomposed body of her son. And it also doesn't explain why the coffin is so badly decomposed. The state of the coffin shows that it has actually been buried for a number of years. Some say that Philomena, Julia's mother, fabricated the whole story in a sort of retaliation because she didn't like Julia's husband, Matthew Petta. Now, what's interesting about this theory is that Julia's married name doesn't appear on her gravestone, only her maiden name. So even if this were true and Philomena lied about the nightmares, she made the whole thing up just to get some sort of revenge or whatever on Julia's husband, it still doesn't explain the photograph where the coffin and the infant's body are decayed and decomposed, and Julia's body is as if she'd just fallen asleep. There was nothing seemingly wrong with it. It just doesn't make sense. What do you guys think? Comment below to let me know. But that's not the end of the story. Reports have been told about a ghostly woman in white who wanders the edge of the cemetery where she rests. Some claim to have seen her in the daytime, some in the nighttime. And those who know the story of Julia Barrera claim that this is her restless spirit. There is a creepy tale of a young boy who was accidentally left behind at the cemetery, not far from Julia's grave. When his family returned to Mount Carmel Cemetery to look for him, they saw him holding the hand of a dark-haired young woman wearing a white dress. Now, when the young boy ran towards his parents, the woman in white vanished. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Italian bride. And if you did, please give it a big thumbs up to let me know that you did enjoy it. And also, if you're not yet subscribed, please consider joining our YouTube family. Just go ahead and click that subscribe button and also click the notification bell so you don't miss any time I upload a video. Do that now. And by subscribing, you are joining our YouTube family here, where we love everything creepy and freaky and weird and wonderful, mysterious and strange and scary, and all that good stuff. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you in my next video.